Self-defense training video. I want to show you some simple self-defense strikes you can do with your homemade self-defense walking stick. Now this is just a 36-inch dowel rod. 36 inches is the most common size for a walking stick. So you can use this as you would any other walking stick. You can pick one of these up from any do-it-yourself store or like a Lowe's or Home Depot here in the United States, Ace Hardware, and they're about 10, 12 bucks. I think this one's about $12. Then you sand it down really well and you oil it up using butcher block oil or mineral oil. You can see this one is brand new. I just finished this one. Or I can send you one. If you want one, look in the description below. It's the first link. But I want to show you some basic things you can do with this. This is a great gray man option. This is something you can take with you most places that you go. And it is a simple walking stick. So the way that you use this for self-defense, the first thing I'm going to show you how to do is bend your knees, sliding your hands down the back of it, and then coming up with one hand up to protect your head, and then the other hand here with about this much coming out so that you can immediately thrust it into someone's face to make them stop trying to hurt you for self-defense. So the very first technique from this position, you put your hand, hey, you're getting too close, back up. You have one foot in front of the other for a stable stance here. You're going to bend the knees, coming up with a simple thrusting motion, extending that arm, turning through your shoulders and hips for maximum power. And when you take a step in, you're going to strike them with even more force. G. Carlton, W9 UFO, great to see you. From this position, you can then swing this straight up, bringing your hand up to your ear like you're answering your phone and using the long side of your homemade walking stick to just strike hard and fast under his chin or maybe into his hand if he's trying to grab or stab you, into his groin between his legs, and then bringing the other hand up here so you have two hands on it, thrusting straight in, very powerful strike, sliding your hand down and then bringing the back hand forward. Notice that I'm pushing while I'm extending that arm. That's accelerating the strike as you turn your shoulders and hips, almost like you're chopping down a tree. Your target is what you can remove or destroy for self-defense, his ability to see, breathe, hit you, do whatever it is for self-defense. Studer, thank you for that $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate all of your support. So the first technique, super simple, going down the back side of your homemade walking stick. Super simple techniques you can do. You can pick them up. You can practice it. Almost anybody can do these techniques. Bending the knees, coming up using that knee bending to lower your center of gravity, giving you more balance, but also to load up these muscles so that when you unload the muscles by coming forward, turning your shoulders and hips, you strike with maximum force, smashing his nose, his teeth, his throat with this hard piece of oak. Right there, shoving the teeth down his throat for self-defense. From here, your second technique was simply bring your hand to your elbow, and notice this small move creates a lot of force at the other end because of the length of your walking stick. You're going to keep him back. This is a nice distance weapon. You have the advantage. If he has one of these, look how much advantage you have over that. If you have nothing else, having one of these against one of these is a good option. Of course, nobody wants to have to fight somebody who has something like this. But if you do have to, having a walking stick gives you an advantage. So bend your knees, thrust, bring this up here. Whether you hit him or not, you now have two hands on it, thrusting straight through, extending your arms away from your body as you turn your shoulders and hips, as you move forward to create maximum power, sliding your hand down. All I'm doing is pulling the backhand here and then pushing this through, striking here. Two hands. And again, your target is what you can remove or destroy. If you hit him here, you can turn off his operating system, lights out. He can't hit you with his knife, his hand, anything, because he's unconscious on the ground. Let the cops come and pick him up. I put a link to the book by Tim Larkin, When Violence is the Answer. That's the second link below. It's one of the best books you can buy if you're serious about self-defense. We have Michael Sanchez here. Soundhouse, great to see you. Texan Rider. Ouija Yukin, great to see you. Yeah, he says this is the Hanbo. So in Okinawan or Japanese style martial arts, you have different lengths of fighting sticks, starting with the Tanbo or the Yawara, the small pocket stick. And then you have the Tanbo, which is about 18 inches. And then this is the Hanbo, which is a good 36 inches. And you can cut it to any length you want. If you're super tall, get a 48-inch dowel rod and cut it to the length that works best for you. The next size up is going to be the 54-inch Joe, and then we go up to the bow, which is usually 72 inches. But don't get stuck on how many inches or centimeters it is. Find something that works for you, whatever you can defend yourself with, that's the perfect size. All right, so from here, the next thing I want to show you how to do for simple self-defense strikes with your homemade walking stick, slide your hand down the front and then aim it at him by simply pointing your thumb right to his face. Now from this position, you can do the same thing as you did before with a simple thrust, turning through your shoulders and hips and stepping into the strike to gain both distance, speed, and power, striking through his nose, his teeth, his throat, into his solar plexus, maybe down between the belly button and the privates into that fascia, but somewhere in the center line of the body. You can also, from this position, put the other hand on it and step and thrust with two hands, making it a much more powerful strike. From here, bring it into your shoulder, and there's that strike. Either just turning through your shoulders and hips, or like before, you can slide it down. You can see, I don't know if you can see all that oil on there. I just pulled it out of the, I have a device where I soak these for 3 or 4 days before I ship them out to you. But this is, it's pretty slick. It's kind of fun to work with. From here, you slide it down the front, pick it up in two hands, step and thrust, pull it through here, strike. I want you to see that you can pull your hand down to the front, pull your hand to the back, and so that your palms are holding both ends of the stick, lifting your back hand up over your head. Now you can bring it down. And again, there's that accelerating strike by pushing down and pushing force or putting force onto your hard piece of oak, bringing this down vertically right into the top of his head, smashing here, or maybe into his clavicle. Break that clavicle so he can't use that arm, coming at an angle, coming into his upper arm, break that bone, break that joint, or maybe into his ribs if his hands are up, or into his hips, into his thigh, coming down into his knee. It's the same angle, it just depends on where you want it to go. Anytime you're doing the strike, you're pulling with that front hand and you're directing your strike with the back hand. So not only are you sliding it to generate more force, but you're also directing where you want it to go. From this position, you can pull it back again, kind of like a pull cue, and thrust. Turning your backhand up and locking it in so that when you hit him, your whole body will move back and you won't just bring your hand back and hit yourself with it. So anytime you want to lock that technique in, you turn and thrust and you turn the front hand over so that that elbow locks as you stick it in his stomach. From this position, pull your backhand up. This is a nice blocking motion. You can have this from here. You're going to turn your palm up on the backhand, and that will bring this into another strike. Or if he's grabbed your staff, you can knock his hand off with it. You can do two things at once. You can deflect an attack, step to the side, and strike. When you step to the side, I have my left foot back. You're always going to move your back foot front so you don't cross your feet over. When you cross your feet in self-defense and you get hit, you've created a point where your feet are going to trip you because there's nowhere for you to go. If you pull your back foot first, you're going to be able to get yourself out of the way. So this technique, we started here. We slide down the front, aim it. You can thrust, you can bring it from your shoulder, striking again. Any one of these techniques, you can bring it over your head to the other side, striking the other way. You can bring it through horizontally. You can get the other hand on it, like you're doing push-ups, and smash his teeth down his throat for self-defense with that hard piece of oak, that bar of wood, smashing through here, in through the eyes, in through the jaw, into the neck. From this position, you can now box his ears with it, bend the knees, step in, thrusting with either side. Doesn't matter. You can also pull this into your shoulder. And even though your hands are in this position, you can create a lot of force by turning through your shoulders and striking with that long part. The great thing about the staff is you can always adjust how much is away from you, how close you are. You can bring it from one side to the other. One of the great things you can practice, putting your hands on the end and sliding them out at the same time. You're putting pressure. One hand goes under, one hand goes over. When they meet in the middle, they turn, the hand pulls out, the other hand pulls out, and you just practice this going one way for a while, and then back the other way. And again, my staff is very oiled. I need to pull more oil out with my rag, which I'll do. You pull the oil out once you do. If you do make your own, after you soak it for 2 or 3 days, really get a rag out, pull the excess oil out, but it's also the heat from rubbing, from the friction, is going to start to burnish that oil in and create that nice hard finish that's going to keep that oil from coming out. The reason you want to soak your staff in oil for self-defense, it adds a lot of weight, but it also rejuvenates the wood. When they send these, or before they send it to the hardware store or the do-it-yourself shop, they put it in a dry kiln and they pull all the moisture out so it doesn't rot and the bugs don't eat it. You're going to have to get that moisture back in. You do that using mineral oil, or butcher block cutting board oil, and you soak it in that. But take your rag and really, that's the last step I haven't done with this one yet. I just pulled it out because I didn't have any of these. I wanted to show you. All my stuff's still in storage. Anyway, so you pull that out. Zoink says I look like Phil Swift. Not sure who that is. I get different people all the time. Garen, great to see you. Yeah, Garen says, all these techniques are similar to a katana or Japanese practice sword, a bokken or shinai. The Koreans call it the jukdo, the bamboo sword that they use for kendo, which is a fun sport if you've never played it. It's one you have to practice a lot to get really good at, but it's when they smack each other with the wooden swords and they wear all the gear. All right, so I showed you at the beginning, bend the knees, get your hand here, bring it up, smash them here. You can bring it through this way. So many ways to strike them. The other way, simple strikes with your self-defense walking stick. Slide down the front, point the thumb, step in, strike. One-handed strikes, especially if they're coming at you and you want to keep them off. Keep the distance, use the distance, especially if they have a knife. The last way I want to show you is if you're just walking down the street. And I see this most commonly when I see people walking in my neighborhood. There's like 92 houses here, but there are several people, 3 so far that I've seen, who carry a stick about this length. And they carry it just like this. And they carry it for 2 reasons. I've asked every one of them. Dogs that might be off the leash and attacking their dogs or them. And you can simply stick the stick in the dog's mouth and let them wrestle with that. There are other things you can do with it, but we'll stop with that for now. And then, Michael says, how you can get my delivery address box. It's in my, go to the channel information. All my information on how to contact me is in there, including the mailing address. Or go to pasquinelli.com, send me an email, and I can email you from there. The holding it like in this position, the other reason they carry it, one is for the dogs, the other is for the people who might not be friendly. And especially in our area, we have wild pigs. If you go out late at night or early in the morning, you could run into a wild boar. They will gut you and you'll die if they rip you up. We have coyotes, we have bobcats, and we have alligators. A big stick is better than nothing when you have anything like that. Or we see in the news all the time, there are multiple reasons, there are multiple types of people who you might want to defend yourself against these days. I saw recently, I'll tell you a sad story. It just gets my blood boiling. It's going to boil your blood. And then a great, exciting story. Still sad, but it has a happy ending. First one, 9-year-old boy, New York City, guy who's been arrested for violent attacks over and over again, bails out the same day, no cash bail, put him back out on the street, mentally ill, goes up, punches his 9-year-old boy in the head, puts him in the hospital. They just put him on a $100,000 bail, finally. We'll see if they let him back out or not. But the other one, 85-year-old woman. And I say this, I want to tell you this story real quick, because people tell me all the time, I'm too old, I can't defend myself. And I say, there's always a way, especially if you have self-defense tools. This woman had a self-defense tool in her house. I think she owned a pawn shop. Someone who was kind of known to her, I think they said she knew the family, some real piece of work kind of guy, parks his truck down the street, goes in with handcuffs and rope and a mask on, and he's going to do this lady a lot of harm, and he's going to take everything from her that he can, her life, her dignity, and then her possessions. And she gets him at the door, and they get in a gun battle, and she expires him. She unalives him. And she takes a few shots. And they say, this old broad's tough. She's in the hospital. She's going to make it. She's going to survive. But the point is, it's your God-given right to defend yourself. So if you have to, remember, don't wait for somebody to come save you. You have to be your own first responder many times. Even if they're on the way, if they can't get there fast enough, you need to protect your family, your friends, yourself, and you can do that with this stick. All right, so third way, sorry for that long-winded interruption. Third way, you're carrying it like this. You can simply turn your hand. Now you have those same strikes that you used before, thrusting, blocking, striking, just because you simply turned it this way, or you could turn it the other way. Now you have your hands on it like we were doing the push-ups before, smashing here, pushing through here, rifle butt strike, bayonet attack. You can reach out, you can grab them, you can pull them into the knee, you can smash the legs with it. One of the great things you can do is you push it behind you. You can swing this forward, coming here and striking that way. You can hit the guy back here, hit the guy in front of you, block here. All the same techniques you can do with a split grip, you can do with this same grip where your hands are parallel. All right, so those are just some basic ways, simple strikes you can use with your homemade walking stick. Again, this is the Japanese or Okinawan Hanbo, 36 inches, standard length. Cut yours to the size that you want. If you want me to send you one of mine that I make, the link is below. Or make it yourself. You can make one of these for less than 20 bucks, less than $15. A little bit of sandpaper. I use 80 grit to take most of the color off the end. I stop after a while just because I get most of it off. It's just so smooth. And then I go to a 120 and I finish with 220. So I do about a couple minutes with each grit, and then that makes them super smooth. And then it's very light because it's been kiln dried. Soak it in oil for 2 or 3 days. It comes out of the oil super heavy and extremely flexible and strong and less likely to break. You can make your own, finish with a nice rag, pull all that oil off, and then once you get the oil off, keep rubbing it until it warms up that oil a little bit and makes a nice hard finish, burnishes it a little bit, and then you have, for less than 15 bucks, a simple, the best gray man option. Gray man is, when you don't walk around and tell everybody that you have a self-defense tool. You can use it as a walking stick. You can carry it with you, especially if you walk the dogs in the morning, at night. It's like all predators attack at dusk and dawn. It's the same with sharks. It's the same with cats, big cats. It's the same with wolves, dusk or dawn. If you're out there walking your dog, if you have to walk to the grocery store, you got real, nasty predators of the two-legged type in your neighborhood, bring your walking stick. A lot of things you can do to defend yourself. And don't worry when people say, like this 85-year-old woman, people would say, well, she can't defend herself. If she has one of those, then she'll go to court and they'll try to blame it on her. So what? Let them take her to court. Let the courts do what they're going to do. Let her say it was my God-given right. And they didn't even charge this woman. And that's what happens most of the time. Obvious case of self-defense. So don't be afraid to defend yourself. Remember, it's your God-given right. No man gives you that right. Man might try to take it away, but God gave you that right. So fight for that right. Anyway, you guys have been awesome. Kevin, great to see you. Garen, we'll see you guys later. Glenn, nice to see you. Orion, Silent Walk. Kevin Murphy's here. G. Carlton again. And Michael Sanchez said hi. Vijay Yukin. Felix Studer, again, thank you so much. Kevin, I think we're seeing some of the same names again. I just want to say hey to everybody because I missed you guys. I said it last night. I did a video. I explained where I've been. I've been having some health issues. And the good news is I'm healthier. Every time I have a health issue, you come out of the other side. Hopefully you can be a little bit stronger. Striped Hawk, good to see you. And everybody else. You guys, so awesome. Love seeing you guys here. I'll see you on the next one. I now have more time. I'm going to be doing these more often. I'm going to do them in the garage until I've been trying to figure a great place. This has the best reception, so I'll be in the garage until I find a better place. Maybe we'll go out by the lake or go down to the beach.